What is going on, guys? DragonTamerBlayde here, back with some more Elder Scrolls Legends, and today I threw together a quick little Atronach Sorcerer deck list, as it will be for the next short period of time, is in the description, up until the deck tracker's fixed. I basically shoved all of the Atronach-related cards into a deck with some removal. We got Firebolts, we got Ice Storms, Lightning Bolts, and Sorcerer Negations. One card that I was thinking about including that I may still go back and include at some point would be the Mages Guild Recruit, so that you can maybe drop down the legendary actions cost, so you can maybe get 2 Lava Atronachs for 5 instead of 7. But, you know, basically the goal of the deck is stock up on Atronachs, play this guy out, shuffle some into your deck. Then you use the 7-cost action to play a bunch of them. You also have guys like the new Temple Conjurer, which can summon a 5/3 Atronach for you. If we're playing against Tribunal, I might have wanted to put that out, but I don't think I need to right now. So now this I could play out, not worry about it. It has no bearing on my synergies. This guy's just a decent inclusion. He fits the theme of the deck, and we'll see if it works out. We had a very slow starting hand, though, which isn't that good against what I assume is going to be Black False Tribunal Control, which I don't know if we're going to have the firepower to punch through that. Interesting. Well, I'm kind of interested in keeping my life high, just because Clockwork Dragon is our only life gain in the deck. I'm playing this over Night Shadow because Night Shadow has breakthrough, and I'm not always going to want to be breaking through. This is also more flexible, arguably. It can be a guard in the right lane when I need it. Can almost play this guy and summon an Atronach. A Poetic Armiger. Pulled lethal. And just play him out for now. Next turn I'll probably go for the tutor. I could see this eating up some removal. Want to get the Dark Rift online. Playing against Quadrilliard. Alright, I figured we could see that there. I was actually considering going for this, but we do have the Mighty Conjuring. Unfortunately, it would just be a random Atronach. I would still get 2 of them, but I think next turn I'm more interested in going for Exalted Temple Conjurer next turn. We'll see how that goes. Or if our opponent even lets it happen. Yeah, he said that's not happening, man. Yeah, let's go ahead and exalt this guy. Because we also can just go for Mighty Conjuring next turn. I mean, at this point, I've got a Lightning Bolt in hand. We've got Dark Rift that'll tick down every turn. And we've got an Ancano. I'm kind of considering just kind of pushing face pretty heavy. Does he have his own Ancano here? No, it's an Exalted Grand Inquisitor. So what's my best play here? I can go Dark Guardian, Dark Rift, High Rock Summoner. Not great. I can go just Mighty Conjuring. Might be pretty good. Let's get our damage in first, see what happens. Okay. Don't know if we're going to live for 5 more turns to make this happen. Or I can go for Lightning Bolt. No, I'm not going to Bolt Face just yet. I can break through for 2 with Ancano. Let's just go for the Mighty Conjuring. I'm sure he has more removal for this, but I want to go for it. It'll set us up for a decent 2-turn kill. That's an interesting card. So I guess he doesn't have actual removal for it. Okay. That's a decent card for 2, though. It makes anything executable. So there goes Ancano. That is unfortunate. Let's go Breton Conjurer, Dark Rift, hit a Dark Rift off, High Rock Summoner. Because there's a chance that I just Ice Storm anyway next turn, which will trigger this guy. I don't think we're going to be getting another Conjuration Tutor anytime soon, unfortunately. I mean, we're set up pretty well to start. I don't run any silence, which would be nice to silence this guy. Okay. Yeah, that's a good card to draw. Alright, so he's playing an Exalted deck, which means I do have to worry about the gods coming out. Get rid of his life gain. Hit him with this. I guess go for a Dark Guardian. Okay, we have another Frosty in hand. We can hit him for another 1 next turn. 1, 2, 3, 4. Doesn't look like we have lethal next turn, because I'm assuming the Frost, at least the Frost Atronach is getting removed this turn. If not more. I also would assume that we're going to see Exalted Vivec soon. Okay. This guy can't be damaged by actions, correct? Can't be targeted by actions. I'm assuming he's going to have something like a Dawn's Wrath for this turn. But it would eat up most of his Magicka. We have the Lightning Bolt. I can set him up for a breakthrough with Flame Atronach over here. As long as he doesn't have an Ice Storm. Ice Storm would kind of blow us out. But then we could just drop something like Lava or even Conjuration plus Frost. We do have 1 damage coming from this. So it looks like this Dark Rift is going to be coming in handy with the damage it's done so far. Alright, we got Cool Lawkeeper. There's Vivek. So we can silence Vivek. And then summon the Conjuration Scholar for the game. I knew he was hanging on to that Vivek. But I'm glad we drew the Sorcerer's Negation to get on right past it. So, that will get us a victory, and video is too short for right now, so we're going to get at least 1 more game. We will be right back with another one. Alrighty, let's get another one with Atronach Sorcerer. Let's see how we do. First match went surprisingly well, and that was with our opponent playing a control-heavy deck that had tons of answers for all the things we were trying to do. So if we can find someone who's not... Oh, there it is again. I was going to say, if we can find someone that's not going to instantly remove our fun, we might be able to do some shenanigans, but I'll take shenanigans being answered and still winning over shenanigans and no win, I guess. How do I feel about this? I'm going to put him back. I like this start better. I like to save that guy for the Exalt, which is weird because you usually don't play a 2-cost card that you don't want to play on turn 2. But I think I only really want to have him out. Like, if I had him in my opening hand and I was playing a deck that was obviously playing very aggressively, I would play him unexalted to kind of fight for the board. But against something like this, I think he has more value in his Exalt ability and possibly copying that Flame Atronach into the other lane with Conjuration Tutor rather than just playing him out as a 2-drop. In my opinion, anyway. Alright, so we've got a little hefty bit of shenanigans ready to go early on. Hopefully we can, like, super high roll and hit Vivek with that or something. Man can dream. I've only played against this deck a couple times, assuming this is the control deck. But then again, my last opponent kind of seemed like they were just all in on Exalt, not even necessarily the Tribunal control deck, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm not very familiar with Blackfall's list. I just know it was very popular in the last week or so. So I'm hoping that it's not running a ton of support removal. I believe there used to be a time where this card only cost 2. Such a good card. And getting this up early is pretty nice for us, because that Storm Atronach is very powerful. It triggers Mighty Conjuring secondary effect. I'm hoping maybe we can use Hallowed Death Priest and hit a Vivek or one of the other gods in hand. Just something really good for him. Try and disrupt his game plan a little bit. Indoril Mastermind. Okay. I mean, this card is just good for digging through your deck. So this doesn't necessarily tell me anything yet about what our opponent's trying to do. Archcannon. Again, Archcannon is just a pretty good card overall. I don't think that necessarily tells us that... I believe the control deck does run this. But I think it's a good card that if you're running Tribunal Temple for the most part, you're probably going to run this card anyway. So I can ring out the Death Priest next turn. Okay. Okay. It's got a pretty full hand. Let's try and mess with it a little bit. That's a good card to hit. I mean, it's not necessarily probably the card we want to hit, but it's a good card to hit. I know we could have just played Breton Conjurer on curve. We might be looking at a Breton Conjurer. Actually, I like this. High Rock and Daggerfall. So next turn we have the potential to get 2 Storm Atronox out on the board. Or just trigger this and then ring out Mighty Conjuring. Which, 2 big boys in split lanes might be a little too much for him to answer immediately. I don't hate the position we're in at the moment. I like having the Storm in hand. I like having this guy to summon a Lava in hand. And knowing our Dark Rift is 1 turn away from proccing is pretty nice as well. He may not want to use... He may not have the cards in hand. I'm pretty sure the deck runs Edict of Azura, but that's 3 out of 75, and I don't know if necessarily Shadowfen Priest makes the cut in this list, so he may not have that to hit us with. And even if he does, let's say he has Edict, he has to decide if using a majority of his turn just to remove this is worth it, or if he wants to wait for, let's say, Dawn's Wrath in a turn or 2. So he is playing the Shadowfen. Touché. Just gonna go for Storm. He may have killed it, but we got another one. Alright, so next turn we have the option of just going Mighty Conjuring if Storm is alive. We can go Conjuration Scholar if we need to get a guard up. I think we're doing a pretty decent job of just kind of continuously presenting threats that our opponent has to continuously have answers for. The unfortunate thing is if any deck is going to have continuous answers, it's going to be these colors combined. But as long as we can continuously put up this pressure, we can get him to the point where a bad draw, or maybe a bad draw or 2, could be his downfall. Tel'Vos Magister. Interesting. Is this probably going to be a Jav or something like that? Fate Weaver. Interesting. So I think the answer is just Mighty Conjuring. Start splitting up our lanes. Opponent's going to burn a Mage's Trick. Alright, so now answering both of these guys in 1 turn is tough. So he can trade, swing, Lightning Bolt, but then answering this is tough for him. We do have the ward to worry about, but we can use our Daggerfall Mage to kind of poke the ward, as long as it doesn't get removed. He's got the Edict there. Does he have a second Edict? No, he's got a Sorcerer's Negation. Okay. Shriveled Mummy. Do I go Conjuration Scholar or Clockwork plus Breton? I'm going to go Clockwork plus Breton. We're at the point where if he has a Dawn's Wrath, it's a very slim chance for him to draw it, and we don't really have a choice anymore. At some point, I'm going to have to answer this guy. He's a problem. Alright, so he does have the Dawn's Wrath. That's fine. Okay, so the odds of him having another Dawn's Wrath are pretty low at least. Gotta hang on to this Lightning Bolt for reach. Got an Emperor's Blade. He's got a Ward Crafter. Okay. Unfortunately, I think we have to kill that. Let's drop him out. So I think we're going to get stonewalled here. And it's not even so much because of this card, although this card is very good. I think it's just he's had the appropriate amount of answers, and he had the Dawn's Wrath at the perfect time. That's the tough thing. When you're playing against like a 75 card deck, if you lose, or if you're in trouble to like just Dawn's Wrath, 3 out of 75 is not the greatest odds. And yeah, you may consider your opponent may keep Dawn's Wrath in their opening hand, but at the same time, you have to play around things to an extent, but like at that point our opponent had 57 cards left in deck, so they hadn't even drawn 20, or yeah, and they hadn't even drawn a third of their deck, so the odds of them having a Dawn's Wrath, not super high, but again, these things happen. It's something, it was a calculated risk, I guess you would call it. Okay. That's an interesting one. Okay, so he's got a flame on deck. I didn't necessarily want... I probably should have put the Dark Guardian in the left lane, now that I'm thinking about it. Okay. Alright, so he's got a Blood Magic Lord. I wish I had the Magicka for double Mighty Conjuring, but we'll settle for one for now. If he wants a second Blood Magic spell, it would still take him having a Firebolt and then trading both creatures in. I think we're holding up decently for the type of decks we're playing against these two matches, though. I just think this time we may be a little bit short on burst, and he's been a little bit long on answers, I guess would be the term. But I think the deck is showing some promise. It's not as bad as I was expecting. I thought it was going to be a little too gimmicky to be cohesive, but I think a lot of these Atronachs are just good cards. So now, I don't know what he's going to play this turn, but I'm more than likely, unfortunately, instead of pushing face, I'm going to have to trade into that Blood Magic Lord, just because I can't really risk him getting more stuff. He may swing with his Tel'Vos Magister into that, try and keep everything on his board alive. Alright, so he has a cast at a time. Okay. Okay, so unfortunately I can't trigger my Mighty Conjuring right now. This is going to give him a Blood Magic spell, unfortunately, but I need to get stuff back onto the board. There is also the potential that I top deck another Supreme Atro next turn or something crazy. I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm pretty sure this game's over. He had plenty of timely removal. The Shadowfen Priest ready to go for our Dark Rift was key. The Dawn's Wrath at the perfect time was pretty good. And all this other stuff. I mean, all these cards are to be expected in this deck. It's just a matter of they need to be drawn at the right times. A lot of them are flexible, so like your Cast into Time, Dawn's Wrath, Piercing Javelin, they all do the same thing. So drawing any of those, for the most part, doesn't matter. But something like drawing that Dawn's Wrath at exactly that moment was necessary. And that, unfortunately, is the last of our power. I don't think our opponent's going to be going face anytime soon. Okay. We have 0 cards to Galen, which sucks. Really doesn't matter what we did there, but I didn't want to swing into that and then give him priority of the swinging. Top deck Javelin, that again should be even more of the game. I mean, again, we have no hope here. Our only hope is trying to somehow burst him down. Which we have 1 lightning bolt left, which is getting down to 8. And then with his ward, he's still fine. He has nothing to worry about. Unfortunately. And that swing, that for the most part, this Tel'Vos Magister didn't do very much for him staying alive. At least I don't think so. Can't even take this guy out though. Oh, and his spells were double drain life. Okay. Like I said, sometimes when you're playing a deck like that, their draw will be too perfect, and they'll have the perfect answers. So it's not too bad, though. I think this deck was quite surprising. I think it was better than I was expecting it to be. And I'm kind of interested in trying to refine it a little bit to see if it can get any better. But that's going to be it for now, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed some Atronach Sorcerer. If you guys have any other deck suggestions or deck types that you'd like to see me build, let me know down below in the comments section. And other than that, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.